All right, this is great because we could start the conversation with raw milk. Because what
I don't know much about raw milk.
What I
I'm
don't
just saying.
understand. Are you following this fucking raw milk craze right now?
not.
Like they're like attacking because we're getting into government overreach and all this shit. They're attacking the poor Amish people who have been selling raw milk forever.
Mm-hmm.
But we talked about it on the phone, and I'll try anything. I'll try any food once. I'll do anything. I cannot fuck with raw milk because I'm so afraid in my mind. I just picture this like curdled.
Yeah, we think it's curdled and chunky.
So if anybody's listening to this and they've tried raw milk,
But supposedly it's
let
not.
me know what it's like. Well, I know you keep saying that, but I'm afraid to do it.
I've heard from people that drink it, so I don't know.
Maybe Phil will try it.
Now
Phil's
I
stuff.
have to try it.
All right. Michael Ketchen episode off to a great start like always. I'm going to get to it. We are joined today. I'm gonna mention it up again because I already forgot. Phil Harasek.
That's the one.
Did I get it right?
That's the one.
All right.
At least you didn't say heretic, you know?
Joined by Matthew Hitchcock as always. And Phil, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right. Now we've already touched
Nice
on raw
meeting you.
milk
Yeah, of course.
and everything else. I wanted to have you on. I was pretty pumped. We got to know each other a little bit. I think, was that 2 years ago, I think?
Give or take, yeah.
Yeah, and then you kind of like went off the grid, took on this huge project, disappeared.
Yeah.
For a while there, I thought you were Batman. Like I only saw you during the day, never at night. You were just gone. But you're in real estate now. You're a real estate agent, former military veteran. Thank you for your service. We always love that.
Yeah, thank you for sure.
And also a former correctional officer, which
Yes.
we're going to get into in a little bit later.
Yep.
First thing I want to know about, because everyone's going to ask in this episode, and except we'll jump around. You did something kind of unique in the real estate space. Walk us through the massive project that was Tuscan Village in Salem. How did that whole thing come about where you were the lead agent to do what, just a fucking bang up job, banging out those condos?
Yeah, so I got a call from a friend of mine who was selling them, had to go to another project.
Okay.
And they needed the closer. You know, Mariano Rivera had to come in. And so
I bust a fucking Yankees reference on a goddamn New England podcast. 5 minutes. I couldn't even go Papelbon. All right, here we go. All right.
So when she called me, I said, yeah, you know, I'll think about it. I thought about it for 24 hours. And Angela is actually one that told me, you know, if you don't do this, you're an idiot. Just get in there and do it. I said, all right, cool. I'll do it. Learned a lot. It was great. And just being a part of Tuscan Village, I live in Salem.
Yep.
So being a part of that, it's huge. And the future development of the town and everything else that's going in and the things I learned, and all the businesses now that are opening up there, it's great. And we've sold them out and we're good to go.
Yeah, what's cool for us that I learned, I remember I was talking to you with somebody else, but I thought it was fascinating. And if you haven't checked out Tuscan Village online, go check it out because it is
it's amazing
Probably
place.
one of the most impressive for what we do as multifamily guys. Probably one of the most impressive developments, mixed use, work live plays in the country. I mean, I've had friends out, investors out from Hawaii who have walked through there and they're just blown away. I mean, it's a $1 billion project.
Unless you're an old Salem townie, then you hate it.
Ah, fuck those people. I mean, honestly, like if there's gonna bitch to
crazy.
bitch, I mean that if you can't do math, I can't help you. You know, it is what it is. Men
And
lie,
it's-
women lie, numbers.
It's not even close to being done yet. They're
No, I
4,
know.
5, 6 years away from actual completion.
I need
There's
that
so much
fucking
more.
Capitol Grill to open.
Yeah.
That's what I need.
It's
A
coming.
lot of good.
I saw the sign up, so
coming.
that's
Signs up.
positive.
Yeah, I
The
think
lions
those,
are up.
those lions. I think those lions are so ugly, and I love lion statues. I was so hyped. It's like it's a lion statue. Then they go with this ugly
But
platinum
they have
nickel.
that. I think that's in front of all of their. I don't know if that's.
Was that
just-
their staple?
I think it might be like a thing for that brand.
I think it's fucking ugly. And it's pretty
I
hard
would
to make a
agree. I'm
lion
just
ugly.
saying that I think it's a thing. For
It's
them.
pretty hard to make a lion ugly, and they found a way to pull it off. But fuck do I know? So on that note, the reason I brought that up because we always like to touch on the real estate stuff. I don't know anybody outside of yourself who's done one of those kind of like exclusive. Like, were you allowed to sell any other real estate at that time, or was it like that was the one project?
I mean, I could have if I wanted to, but I didn't have the time. So
Yeah.
all my effort was focused on that. And that's where Angela kind of helped out. If someone called me, I said, yeah, we can actually do that.
Keep saying Angela Dowd. Go
Angela
give her a
Dowd.
follow if you haven't checked her
Yeah,
out. She's
yeah.
a savage.
Angela
Yeah.
Dowd, she's the best.
Yes.
So if someone called me and say, hey, I want to look for a house, I want to sell a house, I said, yep, we can definitely help you out. Angela's going to spearhead that one because I'm focused on Tuscan Village and selling these. And staying focused on that was pretty good because we wrapped it up pretty quick.
Yeah, which I believe led to, I don't want to overspeak, but you are the #1 real estate agent in Salem, New Hampshire right now, correct?
As of today, yes.
Hottest market in New
Congrats.
Hampshire. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
It's like the GOAT walking in and saying, I would say a Tom Brady reference, but you're always a fucking New York fan, so I can't deal with that.
And before you took on the Tuscan project, how long had you been doing real estate for?
Give or take a little over 2 years, 2.5 years.
Yeah. And I think the goal is you want to get into investing as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Get you some multifamily stuff.
Always the goal.
Gotta get those tax benefits, Phil. Can't make all that money with all the commissions and not do that. So I know Matt hit on it a second ago. 2.5 years. So let's go back in time a little bit because I know we're going to get there. It's 2020. I think we said earlier you were signed to build a house, and you were a correctional officer at the time, correct?
Correct.
And real estate, kind of thinking about it, figuring stuff out. COVID happens. I think coincided with the birth of one of your children. Congrats. Yep. And around that same time, when the big sniffle disease, the Chinese virus, as Trump calls it, just definitely lost some viewers over that one, was happening.
Yep.
It was a crazy time in my life. I mean, we talked, me and you were on a fucking island. I mean, me and this guy were like...
We went down some rabbit holes. It was...
We lost some friends and family. It was not a good time.
Yeah, we got them back around eventually, I feel like, for the most part.
Common sense wins out usually.
Some, but...
But, I mean, we were on an island. I mean, I got to the point, I was going so crazy, I've told the story before. Like, I was driving to different hospitals.
Videoing
and I was video recording, doing the friend chat news on WhatsApp. To be like, where are all the bodies? Where's all the fucking controversy? Where's everyone's dying?
There was no cars in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Now, granted, we're not like major metro, like we weren't in Boston, but still. Like,
and I went through TSA. I'll never forget when the lady said I had to put in a mask. I said, no, I didn't. She said, sir, yes, you do. I said, you should learn the difference between a mandate and a law. Hannah got very uncomfortable. But I didn't put on a mask. So I never wore a mask in the airport. But you took it a step further. You are a fucking man for this. That's why I wanted you on here. I respect you. They tried to do a vaccine mandate in the state of Massachusetts, and you stood on business, and you said, I'm not doing it.
Yep.
And I can't even imagine, like, walk us through the tenacity, the mindset. I know your wife a little bit, like going home and telling her, hey, like, this is our income. We're building a house. Our family's expanding. And I'm not compromising my principles. We'll figure it out. Like, what was that time like in your life?
Yeah, well, 2020, I was wearing the mask at work.
Yep.
Because it's just what you had to
Hating
do.
every second of it, I'm sure.
Every second of it. So every day I went home and I told Danielle, my wife, this is horrible. Every day I'm wearing a mask. I'm losing my mind, miserable. 2021 comes along. We're going through the process of building our house. I'm working my ass off to pay to build the house.
Yep.
And they were telling us, no mandate of the vaccine. And all of a sudden, mandate of the vaccine. Around the same time, she's 9 months pregnant. We have our baby. A week later, we close on our house. And I just said, I don't think that's going to happen. So we moved in. I started looking into real estate. The guy that was building my house, DHB Homes, the best, said, hey, you should get into real estate. And I already been thinking about it.
Yep.
So I said, all right, what do I do here? Well, I'm not getting the shot, first of all. Do I try to find some way around it and go back to work without getting it? Do I just say, fuck it, give up my current income, and start a new job? And my wife told me, like, yeah, you're an idiot if you go back to what you don't like doing and turn down what you would enjoy doing. So I got the real estate license. Actually went back to work for a week and then realized, yeah, this is stupid. Yeah. And I called him and said, yeah, I quit. Not going to happen. And then, I don't know, probably a month later, my real estate license came in the mail. And I said, here we go. Here we are today.
I'm going to figure it out.
Yep.
Awesome. Talk about GSD. Get shit done.
Yeah.
What was it like? Like, did you have coworkers, friends and family? Phil, are you nuts? Have you lost your mind? My favorite is you being irresponsible.
Yeah.
Being irresponsible, Phil.
Yeah.
You get any of that pushback?
No one said it to me, but people told me that other people would say it. And that's fine. They do what they do, think what they think. I don't care. Some people, you're giving up steady income. You work for the state of Massachusetts. You get paid decent.
Yep.
You know when you're getting paid. You know how much you're getting paid. It keeps coming in. But, other people thought I was kind of crazy for it, but whatever.
But even that position, though, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's not a safe position by any means, right?
No.
So I mean, you doing what you did, I mean, that's, for a peace of mind sense of things, like that's got to be worth something in itself. Anyways.
Oh yeah. It was, the job sucked. Everyone knows correction's not a fun job.
100% not. I've heard some horror stories.
The job sucks.
What was the craziest shit you ever saw in there?
Oh man, where do I start?
Well, let's start with them. We're here.
I mean, I saw some guys get stabbed a few times.
Yeah.
I saw guts coming out of a guy's stomach.
Fuck.
I know the girls don't want to hear this, but yeah, sometimes one of my buddies, a guy got stabbed. One of my buddies was basically holding his guts together until the medical staff got there.
Holy shit.
That job sucked.
Yeah.
And you don't get paid enough for that shit. I don't care how much it is. You couldn't pay me enough to equal what those guys do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And as much as I hated that job, still a lot of respect for the guys that still do it.
Yeah.
Good for them. It came to the point where I couldn't do it anymore. It wasn't worth it.
But that's like MJ DeMarco has this saying. I've talked about him before, but he wrote the Millionaire Fastlane. He wrote, I think his other one was called like the Rat Race, whatever it was. Millionaire Fastlane was instrumental, and he calls them "fuck this" moments. And he's like, at the birth, essentially his theory is the birth of every entrepreneur. When you really take off, not necessarily income wise, but when you flip the switch, you have a "fuck this" moment. And your "fuck this" moment was building, and then it finally happened with the vaccine. I mean, your "fuck this" moment was when, remember the recruiting job and
Yeah.
they started busting your balls a little bit.
The whole corporate structure changed at my company. And because of that, they made it a lot more challenging for branch managers to operate things. And it was at a peak moment too, where we were already I saw the lining of I'm on the way out of corporate America.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's just kind of how it went. But that was my fuck you, probably.
Yeah, and they thought I had a heart attack. So that was my
They thought you had a
big
heart attack?
Yeah, I thought I told you this story.
I don't think so.
Yeah, no,
Unless I forgot.
Conflicting opinions. No, we were in Lawrence Public Schools. They had redesigned the school, and we're going through. And we'd already cleaned it up once. Then the state comes in. It was a whole. It's funny. You can read this online. Jeff Riley's currently I think he's the leader of education in Massachusetts, whatever it's called. And he's one of the most racist people. You want to talk about a real racist? I mean, this guy played 3D chess. What a piece of shit. I'd love to tell this story someday. But basically, the high school was 6 small schools, and we ran one. We turned it around. We were winning awards. We were doing everything we can, and the state came in, and they had a plan behind it that we were fucking up. Their plan was to redesign it so they could get funding into 4 academies, the 9th, the 10th, 11th, and 12th. So they finally did it. And they said, you guys did such a good job. Yeah, kicking the dick here. You guys get the 10th grade academy. So we went from 600 kids and 4 grades and supporting them. And I mean, dude, we took this from the 5th worst high school in the state of Massachusetts to an accommodation school. I mean, we were winning awards. And I've told the story before, but we then just became the 10th grade academy. And it was terrible. Our staff doubled. We had to absorb a school of staff that didn't want to work with us. They weren't used to high expectations. Our students tripled. Everything was terrible. And I was running around, and my personality, I try to problem solve everything. I go. It's me. It's a tidal wave, right? It's me versus everything. And there was one day my heart just started ripping, and never got clarity on it because my mother brought me into her cardiologist specialist. She works with my mother's a nurse.
Shout out to the Dot.
Yeah, shout out to the Dot. And he didn't think so, but the people at urgent care in Lawrence at that whatever that hospital is over there, they thought I did. They thought I had a minor one. So I said to Hannah, and we were starting to look at Commonwealth Collective. We had done a deal, and I was like, all right, fuck this. This is like, we got to do something like big now and just figure it out. And then, of course, we told the story the other night at the meetup, but we finally leave. And I leave first. I think then Hannah and then Matt was going to leave. That's around the time, the only deal to this date we ever lost money on because we went off course. We did something we don't do, trying to flip this weird construction. That whole deal was a shit show. We could do a whole episode on that shit show. And then we're getting ready to close a 31 unit, $2.5 million loan, and the bank pulls the loan at the closing table. So I just quit my $100K a year job. The bank pulls the loan. They trap all of our equity, and we're losing money on a flip in Newton. That's where GSD was born. Wow. You strap on your fucking boots and you go. That was my fuck this moment. Yeah. And I was like, I'm not going back. I was like, burn the boats. I said something the other day on social media. I was like, basically, burn the boats and then storm the beach, right? Because everyone wants to storm the beach, but if you look behind you, there's a way out. And that's what I love about what you're saying. Like, you come from, I believe you were a military man too, like we mentioned, right? Were you in the Army?
Yep, correct.
Well, you're a soldier, you're a CO. To have that entrepreneurial spirit to push back when they're trying to condition you a whole time, clearly that was enough to get you motivated.
Oh, yeah.
How have you? Do you think of yourself, were you always an entrepreneur, were you always in sales, or how does that, because those two things don't always go together, the military background and doing this.
No, I joined the Army when I was 18.
Yeah.
I spent 10 years there. And in the Army, I joined in 2003.
Yeah.
A big time of just do what you're told. And that was my life for 10 years. And then there was a point where I do what I'm told, and the people under me, you do what I tell you to do. And that's it. There's no questions asked. This is what we're doing. I left that. You go into corrections. Somewhat similar, not as intense, obviously, but it was just a job of, serve, you go to work, you work your ass off, you come home, you get paid, rinse, repeat, do it again. And that was it. And then my wife opened a business, and I started to see, my eyes opened to that a little bit.
Yep.
And I saw the benefits, and obviously saw, hard work, late night weekends, but there's benefits to all that at the end of the day. And that kind of opened my eyes to, shit, maybe I should think about doing that. And then over time, thought about it more. And then when all the, COVID stuff happened, said, well, here we are. We got to go one direction. I picked my direction. And
I think you picked the right direction.
yeah, I'm pretty happy with the choice I made. Yeah. But really, a lot of it was seeing what my wife Danielle did, and shit, you can do it. It's not crazy to leave your job. She had a corporate job in Boston. You leave that job, you go do what you want. You can be successful. It's like, oh shit, I can do that too. And here we are.
And you guys also, well, we're a little different. And I think sometimes, I don't want to say it would make us less aggressive. We just don't know. We don't have kids. Mm-hmm. You guys have kids. And I think that doesn't get enough credit, where it's like, I always say, when you become an entrepreneur and you start a business, you're trying to uncondition a muscle. And that muscle has been programmed to think from the time you were born. Like, if you look around you and your parents work traditional jobs and your friends and your family work traditional jobs, everyone around you's on that, kind of like you said, all those COs, great job, a lot of respect. That's awesome. It sounds like Danielle went through the same thing, corporate job. Mm-hmm. We call it like the golden handcuffs, right? The higher you get into that 6-figure salary range, the harder it is to leave. Nothing wrong with that. There's some people who want that. But when you got that entrepreneurial itch, you're trying to essentially rework and relearn and rebuild the muscle to think differently. And you said it perfectly early on. Like we talked about, we've said it before, but like taking the pay cuts, like, congratulations, you own a business. Now you work more hours, get paid less, and have to eat shit every day. Mm-hmm. So it's like, who would sign up for this? What kind of psychopath does this?
Well, if you like to problem solve and figure things out and do it on your own accord, then yeah.
Oh, well, no, he'll get this soon, because Phil, once they start promoting that on social media, the number one sales agent, I can't wait for someone to comment, must be nice. That's when you know you fucking, that's such my trigger. I get triggered. I'm starting to squeak right now. That's like when you know you've made it. But must be nice is definitely one of my triggers.
Do you think if COVID didn't happen, you still would have gotten to where you are now in terms of being an agent or being an entrepreneur, or?
Probably not.
No?
Nope. No, because you're in that comfort zone, and you're working that job, whatever it is, and you, like you said, you climb the ladder a little bit, start getting paid a little more, and it's like, oh yeah, fuck,
dangle a little promotion, dangle a little carrot.
Bad. You get a pension after how many years? Like, I'll just work till I get that, and then, yeah, honestly, if it wasn't for COVID, I'd probably still be there.
That's so wild.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of those things too. Like, I sometimes think, like, a lot of people think of COVID, they're like, terrible time.
Yeah.
But I sometimes think of,
great for us.
I was like, well, one, great for our business. Two, I mean, personally, I met my wife during COVID, and I think that given the fact that you couldn't go anywhere.
We're not telling that story on this podcast.
What story? I mean, I'm just saying that I met my wife, and I literally, there was nowhere to go. You couldn't really meet anybody. So I literally met her right before COVID hit, and then, we got to hang out all the time, be together. We still worked, obviously, but it was much more lax. Got to learn about each other, figured out whether or not we were older at that point. We're 37, 38. So you're trying to expedite at that point in time, trying to figure out where you're going with your life, getting married, potentially having kids, all that type of stuff. So I think for me, COVID was very positive.
It definitely was. But I also, now you just remind me of something I got to share with Phil and the rest of the world who's going to listen to this. So karma has come full circle for Matthew Hitchcock. Matthew found a way to be a real estate investor, a multimillionaire real estate investor, and never pay for housing. Matt always had roommates. He would buy a condo. He'd rent out every room. He'd buy a multifamily, rent out every room. He meets Amy. He moves in, somehow is getting away with this continuous deal in her townhouse, and then she just dropped the hammer on him because now they live in Wyndham in the fucking McMansion.
Well, yeah.
And now he's finally paying a mortgage. But that's why I was kind of laughing. Mortgage, going in there, and it's like the fucking real estate guy who's never like had to.
So
pay
the only
for real
negative
estate.
was that I started to actually have to pay for stuff. I guess.
I was gonna say, like, it just you just figure
That's just
it out.
life.
But yeah.
Yeah, that is just life. All right, so a couple of things I want to touch on because I kind of personally hate real estate agents. That's just me.
I heard you say that a few times.
I like you. Yeah. Well, you know what it is? It's like yesterday, right? Like I'm closing. We're selling one of our Airbnbs, which I'll give everyone an update when it's done. My South Carolina house. But the kid follows me on social media, so I want to make sure everything's on record before I go there. The agent fucked it up, per usual, and I had to come in and quarterback it and save it. And for what we do, I find there's so many bad ones. You're obviously a good one. I've talked to you, mentioned Angela. She's a good one. We worked with good ones before. When all that came out a year ago at this point, that lawsuit, has that impacted you guys' business at all? Has that changed anything?
Not us.
What has that really done? Was it just a buyer's commission or something like that?
Nothing's honestly really changed. The paperwork for us has changed.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I guess the rules have changed a little bit. Before, you're selling your house.
Yep.
You're buying it. So you're selling your house. I get to put online for everyone to see what you are paying the other real estate agent who brings you the buyer.
Yeah, the 2.5% or whatever it is.
Whatever the percentage is, it's posted, it's online, everyone can see it. Now, no one knows. I can't put it online and say
That was the change.
and say Mike Ketchen is offering 2% to a real estate agent if you bring a buyer to buy his house. You can still offer it. You don't have to. You never had to.
Yeah.
Everyone just kind of said this is what you do.
Yeah.
So for me, nothing's changed.
That's awesome.
It's no different.
So they made a big deal about a whole bunch of nothing.
Yeah, it added 20 minutes of paperwork for us. That's about it.
Yeah, I remember that was a huge deal. That's why I was
yeah.
wondering, like, kind of where that goes. And
Everyone was freaking out.
what do you see too? Where are you seeing in the market right now? I mean, you guys are obviously killing it overall. You seeing any softening? You seeing any price softening or anything?
Not in our area.
Yeah.
Southern New Hampshire, northern Massachusetts, not really.
Yeah.
So from the Andovers to the Salem to the Wyndham, Derry, Londonderry is still pretty hot.
Yep.
Interest rates don't help people, but I haven't really seen it slowing down in our area.
Yeah, supply and demand, and what he just said is huge. Like we talk all the time, we invest in multiple states across the country, and the thing that makes New England unique, like we were telling the woman yesterday with that lead source, we still haven't fixed the core problem.
Yeah.
Right? Their interest rates went through the roof. There was no softening. There was no softening because supply and demand is so out of whack. I think Manchester, New Hampshire, was just named what was the #1 hottest market in the country
Yeah.
by
Redfin.
Redfin.
Yeah.
I mean it's insane.
Yeah.
So all right, what is a piece of advice before we kind of wrap this up? I'm happy to get a hold of you. I don't usually ask us this, but I do want to ask this because I'm just so impressed with your story. What's a piece of advice you would give to someone who might be thinking about making the jump to an entrepreneur from a traditional job? What's one thing you tell them?
Just do it.
Just pull the trigger.
Work
Nike.
hard. If you want it, just go get it.
Yeah.
Bet on yourself.
I love God. That's a clip right there. We just fucking nailed it. Get the hat. Phil, where can people get a hold of you?
Instagram, Phil the Realtor. You can call me, text me, 978-606-6910. Hit me up anytime.
Putting the number out there. That's aggressive.
right.
People
It's
must have thinking
out
you got
there.
Russell Wilson. He's gonna go. I gotta keep that going. Like, dude, I've never met someone who looks so much like Russell Wilson. You're way cooler
Now
than
that you
Russell
say
Wilson.
that, yeah, I guess so.
He's.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a cooler guy. Russell Wilson's
Yeah.
kind of a goofball. But I just every time I see him, like, how the hell is like Russell Wilson just living in Salem, New Hampshire? Have you got that before? Or am I the only guy saying that?
I've heard it a million times.
Good. I'm just glad I'm not the only one because it'd be fucking weird if I was the only one.
Random people come up to you, look like Russell Wilson. I say, okay, yeah.
You know
Heard that
what?
before.
Maybe you're older. You say he looks like you.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know what I mean?
That's a good
You
point.
play quarterback?
No,
Jesus Christ! You could have nailed this right now. Could have took it there.
I gotta do it for Halloween.
Actually, you guys could.
Yeah.
Yeah. Danielle, what's his wife's name?
Sierra.
Sierra. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you go with those costumes. There might be a third kid on the way or something going that night. Just be careful there. All right, before we get any more inappropriate, Phil, I can't thank you enough for being here. This
Yeah,
was
I appreciate
awesome.
it. It's
Matt,
awesome.
as always, bet on yourself.